Good afternoon and welcome to the National Capital Planning Commission's November 7th, 2024 open session. First, Ms. Holcox, could you please take the roll call?
Yes, Commissioner Cozart,
Here.
Commissioner McMahon,
Good morning, Herb. Good afternoon. I'm here.
Commissioner Stidham,
Here.
Commissioner Argo,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Hewlett,
Present.
Chair Goodman,
Here.
Commissioner Green,
Here.
Commissioner Tunstall-Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Dixon, Commissioner Dixon, I believe you're muted. Commissioner Cash,
Present.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Giacchetti, Diane Sullivan, Director of the Current Planning Division, is also in the meeting.
Thank you. Noting the presence of a quorum, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Today's meeting is live streamed and it will be available in a few days as a video on NCPC's website. If there's no objection, the agenda as posted is adopted and is the order of business. I want to share with you how we will be conducting the commission's business today. Following staff presentations and any other testimony, I will ask for a motion and a second as appropriate. During commission deliberations, I will use the round robin format to ask each commissioner if they have any comments. At other times, when commissioners wish to be recognized, they can unmute and ask to be recognized. And now if there's staff are prepared, we will play a short video clip of the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our second agenda item is a report of the chair, and I just want to thank everyone for your participation in our successful return to in-person commission meetings last month. As you can see, because of our extremely light agenda this month, and because of the other events in DC, we felt this was the best way to meet because it will be a very brief meeting. Moving forward, our in-person meetings will be held unless there is some real significant reason to have a virtual meeting. We anticipate that the majority will be in person. There will be clear guidance on our website for participation by our public and by other people who are participating in the meeting. As a reminder, when we're in person, members of the public can attend at the NCPC offices. And with that, I would like to move to agenda item number 3, which is report of the executive director. And today, Ms. Sullivan will be delivering that report. Ms. Sullivan, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Goodman and members of the Commission. You have the Executive Director's report in your packet, so I will not repeat everything here. However, I would like to highlight 3 awards that NCPC received over the last month. The Beyond Granite Pulling Together exhibition from the summer of 2023 won the American Planning Association National Capital Area Chapter Outstanding Project Award. As you know, the exhibition was a pilot of the larger Beyond Granite initiative to expand representation in Washington's commemorative landscape and is a partnership led by the Trust for the National Mall with the National Park Service and NCPC. Beyond Granite was also recognized as a Vision Award winner by the Committee of 100 for the Federal City at their awards ceremony on October 17th. And lastly, NCPC's Workplace Scenario Planning Study was the recipient of the 2024 APA National Capital Area Chapter Planning Award for Outstanding Planning Tool. I want to thank NCPC staff and all of our partners for their efforts on these visionary projects.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sullivan, and I would like to, on behalf of the Commission, congratulate staff again for the wonderful partnerships and work that went into the exhibit on the mall. It was a pilot, but it was also a replicable model for cities around the country. And I think all those awards are very much deserved. But also the planning study for the capital region, which is, I think, innovative and practical and necessary, is another an example of thought leadership in the capital region. So congratulations to Marcel and to you, Diane, to all the staff for the great work you've put in on that. That's wonderful, wonderful report. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 4 is the legislative report from Ms. Huddle Cox. Ms. Huddle Cox, do you have any report today?
Yes, thank you, Chair Goodman. I have 2 legislative items to report on this month. First, H.R. 9987 is a House bill introduced on October 11th to establish a commission to study the potential of a National Museum of Italian American History and Culture. The bill would create an 8-member commission to report on the feasibility of establishing a National Museum of Italian American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. and the environs, and the potential to have the museum become part of the Smithsonian Institution. The bill's been referred to the House Committee on Administration and the Committee on Natural Resources. Second, H.R. 10043 is a House bill that was introduced on October 25th, which would provide an extension of the legislative authority of the National Emergency Medical Services Memorial Foundation to establish a commemorative work in the district and its environs. The bill would extend the legislative authority until November of 2032. As a reminder, the Commission provided comments on site selection plans for the memorial site in December of 2019. The bill has been referred to the House Committee on Natural Resources. That concludes my legislative report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And does the commission have any questions for Ms. Huddle Cox on that report? Any questions? Hearing no questions, we will move on. Thank you very much, Ms. Huddle Cox. Agenda item number 5 is the consent calendar, and there are 5 items on that consent calendar this month. The first item is a request to approve preliminary site and building plans for the National Mall Carousel site improvements. The next item is to approve comments on concept plans for the Deep Energy Retrofit Program at the Veterans Affairs Headquarters in the Lafayette Building. The third item is to approve preliminary and final site and building plans for the communications tower replacement submitted by the district's Department of General Services. The fourth item is to approve preliminary site and building plans for the National Institutes of Health Building 102 A and B wing conversions. Finally, the fifth item is to approve preliminary building plans for the main gate replacement at the Wolf Trap Park for the Performing Arts. Is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar?
Madam Chair, I move approval of the 5 items on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hewlett. Is there a second?
Second. I'll second.
Oh, there was a second, but I'm not sure. I think it was that Commissioner Stidham.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Stidham seconded. Ms. Huddle Cox, could you please confirm the motion and the second and take the vote by roll call?
Yes, the motion was made by Vice Chair Hewlett and seconded by Commissioner Stidham. With that, Commissioner Cozart?
Yes.
Commissioner McMahon? Commissioner McMahon? Come back. Commissioner Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Argo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hewlett?
Yes.
Chair Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunstall Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon? Commissioner Dixon, can you unmute? Okay, I see you're indicating yes by video. Commissioner Cash?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Giacchetti? Still not present. And Commissioner McMahon, are you back with us?
I noted he
Okay.
froze there.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ms. Huddle Cox. That motion clearly passes. And we're going to turn to the one open session item we have now. And this is agenda item number 6A, and it is to approve the preliminary site and building plans with comments for a child development center at the Joint Base Andrews. The presentation today will be made by Ms. Stephanie Free. Stephanie, or Ms. Free, please.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me and see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Thank you and good afternoon, Chair Goodman and Commissioners. The Naval Facilities Engineering Command Washington, or NAVFAC Washington, in coordination with the U.S. Department of the Air Force, has submitted preliminary site and building plans for the construction of a new 23,000 square foot Child Development Center, or CDC, at Joint Base Andrews in Camp Springs, Maryland. Overall, staff is recommending approval of the plans, with comments to be addressed in the next submission. The facility will be located at the intersection of Arkansas Road and California Avenue within the installation's administrative and support district, as highlighted here in the yellow circle. The project site is characterized by open grass with approximately 0.82 acres of contiguous forest stand, scattered trees and shrubs, and sloping grade ranging from 1% to approximately 8% from southeast to northwest. The surrounding areas include other base facilities, roads, and infrastructure that are essential to base operations. A new CDC is identified in the Draft Administrative and Support District Area Development Plan, or ADP, that was reviewed by the Commission in March of 2024. The plan area was subdivided into different nodes or character use areas with the goal of promoting walkability between nodes. The new CDC in the draft ADP within the South Bend node, where base housing, the education center, fitness center, and Presidential Inn are located. In the draft ADP, the CDC was proposed on a previously disturbed site at the intersection of Arkansas Road and Arnold Avenue, as seen here on the right in the yellow circle. However, the preliminary site and building plans proposed the CDC at a different location than identified in the draft ADP. The site and building plans proposed the CDC on a vegetated greenfield site at the intersection of Arkansas Road and California Avenue, as seen here in yellow on the slide, which was identified in the draft ADP as open space. The applicant indicated that the location of the CDC in the draft ADP was made in error, and that the location of the CDC as proposed in the current application was selected as a result of the site evaluation analysis that was conducted as part of the environmental assessment, which was completed in 2020. Staff notes the applicant considered a range of reasonable site alternatives in the environmental assessment, including renovating the existing CDC-1 or building a new CDC in one of 4 other locations: the site of the former Firestone building in Building 1558, the site of the former Officers Club and Parking, the site of the former Building 1558, and the corner of Washington Road and Vermont Road. In selecting possible alternative locations for the construction of the new CDC, the Air Force evaluated sites that met the following selection standards. The site encompasses approximately 5 acres. The site is close to the Jones Building and medical clinics. It is in compliance with ATFP requirements. Utilities are available on the site, and it requires minimal other construction or demolition. Per the EA, the site at the intersection of Arkansas Road and California Avenue was the only site that satisfied all 5 of the selection criteria. In its review of the EA in 2020, NCPC staff did not object to the location of the proposed CDC at the corner of Arkansas Road and California Avenue due to its central location and proximity to the installation's Jones campus employment area, which would promote walkability. However, staff requires the applicant reflect the location of the CDC at the intersection of Arkansas Road and California Avenue in the final Joint Base Andrews Administrative and Support District ADP submission. The update must include any related changes that result from locating the project at this site, such as adjustments to the surrounding street network. And staff also encourages the applicant to consider ways in which the CDC site can support community serving programming, such as after school and weekend events, to offset the loss of green space that was intended for the ADP. So that wraps up our review of the project location. Overall, we do not object to the proposed location at Arkansas Road and California Avenue. And in the remainder of the presentation, I will go over the site plan and building design and the executive director's recommendations for each. So looking at the site plan, the development includes, as I said, a 23,000 square foot building. a new parking lot with ADA compliant parking spaces, a parent drop-off lane, access roads to the kitchen and dumpster area, pedestrian walkways, several submerged gravel wetlands for stormwater management, play areas, and landscaping. Additional parking is located across California Avenue to the south in an existing lot with 29 spaces. This lot will be resurfaced as part of this project, and a pedestrian crossing will be provided for safe access between the CDC and the parking lot. The CDC building has primary frontage on California Avenue with a curb cut that allows access to a parent drop-off area. Here to a parent drop-off area. And the loop road and a road forms a loop around these parking spaces and converges down to another curb cut on Arkansas Road where vehicles will exit. A loading entrance also shares the curb cut on Arkansas Road. And this curb cut is approximately 40 feet wide, and the curb cut on California Avenue is approximately 20 feet wide. To promote walkability consistent with the plan, pedestrian circulation and crossing should be prioritized over vehicles. Therefore, staff recommends the applicant evaluate reducing the width of the curb cuts and number of travel lanes entering and exiting the CDC site on Arkansas Road and California Avenue to minimize pedestrian crossing distances and limit the amount of impervious surface area. California Avenue is identified in the draft Administrative and Support District ADP as needing improvement, including where sidewalks need repair or are not ADA compliant. The draft ADP also identifies Arkansas Avenue as a primary street in poor condition. As Arkansas Road directly connects to the Jones campus, the ADP recommends upgrades, including sidewalks, planting strips, and on-street parking to improve the walkability of the district. However, the CDC site plans do not propose sidewalks along its frontage on Arkansas Road and no upgrades to the existing sidewalk on California Avenue. Therefore, staff finds the proposed site plan lacks pedestrian connectivity to existing and future area amenities, which is inconsistent with the ADP's vision to create walkable nodes with modern buildings connected by great streets, and requests the site plan include sidewalks along the project's frontage to promote walkability between the CDC, the adjacent Jones campus, and other nearby amenities. The submission indicates the project includes submerged gravel wetlands to manage stormwater effectively and reduce peak runoff. Since the development of this greenfield site is contributing to an increase in the amount of impervious surface area, staff recommends the applicant also install permeable paving in the parking stalls on the project site and in the parking lot across California Avenue to promote stormwater infiltration and further reduce runoff. Together, the parking lots will provide 44 parking spaces, which will be available for use by the 62 employees of the CDC. The applicant indicated that some of the parking spaces will also be utilized by visitors and parents. However, it is not clear whether the project meets the comprehensive plan's recommended parking ratio for this site, which is 1 space for every 2 employees. And staff requests a description of the proposed parking space allocation and the amount of proposed parking dedicated to CDC employees to ensure the plan's consistency with the comprehensive plan's parking ratio in the next submission. Approximately 0.82 acres of tree removal is anticipated with development of the CDC on this site. The tree removal was anticipated early on in the site evaluation analysis as performed as part of the EA, and at that time, staff requested the applicant consider NCPC's tree preservation and replacement policies when developing a tree replacement plan for the project. As a result, the applicant will plant 1.27 acres of reforestation at a nearby site within the ADP as replacement for the 0.82 acres of forest removed to construct the Child Development Center. While it is preferred by both federal and local stakeholder agencies for replacement trees to be replanted on the project site, space is limited on this site, and the site where the trees will be replanted is nearby within the ADP boundary and will expand an existing contiguous forest area. The 1.27 acres exceeds both the Maryland Department of the Environment's Forest Conservation Plan requirements and NCPC's tree replacement policy in the comprehensive plan. Approximately 122 planting units would be required per the formula provided by MDE to calculate replacement plantings, and the CDC project proposes 155 planting units. NCPC's tree replacement policy requires a minimum of 1 acre replanted for every 1 acre removed. The trees planted will be native to the region and consistent with the forest makeup that is elsewhere on the base. The proposed landscape improvements include seeding and mulching in native species that are adaptable to the local climate. However, the landscape plan only shows 12 trees planted on the site along California Avenue and some shrubs planted within the parking island. Therefore, staff requests the applicant incorporate additional trees and other vegetation throughout the site to visually integrate the project with the character of its surroundings, which includes mature trees and open fields, and provide a list as well of potential plant species to be used on the project site, with a focus on native species that support pollinator habitats. The plan also proposes play areas on the east and west sides of the CDC. In consideration of comments provided by the Maryland Department of Planning, staff requests the applicant conduct a shade study to determine if the child play areas will receive adequate shade from the building during peak daytime hours, and to locate large canopy trees where gaps occur to ensure adequate shade is provided. To reevaluate the type and placement of stormwater management facilities to avoid potential for mosquito habitats adjacent to the child play areas, and to incorporate low walls or play equipment in the design that can retain the sloping grade to ensure that the play spaces will have a relatively level surface. Onto the building design, the CDC will be a single-story brick-cladded structure with hip roofs. The building massing, form, and materiality are consistent with the ADP's installation facility standards, which call for orthogonal geometry and massing variations with primarily brick facades. The installation facility standards call for CDC design to be residential and non-institutional in character. However, staff finds the large windowless blank walls flanking the building's primary entrance are uninviting and convey an institutional character, which conflicts with the installation facility standards. A less institutional and more residential character could be achieved by articulating the primary facade with brick detailing, public artwork, and/or landscaping to create a more welcoming approach and appealing frontage. Staff notes the submission does not directly address how the proposed CDC will incorporate green building standards or practices such as renewable energy installation or certification by third-party rating systems such as LEED. As recent executive orders on climate change and renewable energy have urged agencies to reduce their carbon footprint and energy utilization, staff requests a description of how the project will meet the objectives of the most recent executive orders related to climate change and renewable energy. Due to the siting discrepancy and the resulting tree removal, NCPC staff referred the preliminary site and building plans to the state and local jurisdictions through the Maryland State Clearinghouse for a 60-day comment period. The agencies found the project to be generally consistent with their plans, programs, and objectives, and we have incorporated their comments into the executive director's recommendations, which are listed here and have been incorporated throughout my presentation. Again, staff does not object to the project location, and recommendations are primarily focused on topics related to the site plan and building design for the applicant to address in the next submission. So this concludes my presentation. In addition to myself, we have several representatives from the applicant team, including NAVFAC and Joint Base Andrews, on the line to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Free. Do any of the commissioners have questions at this time for Ms. Free or her consultants? Any questions? I don't see any hands up, so I'll move right along here. Can everyone just turn on your cameras, and I need a motion to approve this preliminary site plan and building plans with any
So moved,
comments?
Madam Chair.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner or Vice Chair Hewlett. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. A second by Commissioner Argo. I will start deliberations now that we have a motion with, I hope he's back, Commissioner McMahon. Has he returned?
He has returned. Commissioner McMahon, are you with us?
maybe having audio problems. Commissioner McMahon, I'm going to move along and we'll come back to you. Commissioner Stidham, please.
Thank you for the presentation. I don't have any comments.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Argo.
Again, I repeat, thank you for the presentation. I jotted down a bunch of notes, which I don't need to go over, but I'm really pleased with the things that need to be changed. So appreciate the work of the staff on this review. And I agree wholeheartedly with all the requests that they're going to make for the amendments to this plan to improve it in a number of ways. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Argo. Thank you very much. Commissioner or Vice Chair Hewlett, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to vehemently support the recommendations, particularly the walkability and connectivity, but also I couldn't take those blank windowless brick walls there at the end. So I think that's very important to do something about those windows, artwork, or something to that effect. So otherwise, I fully support. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hewlett. Commissioner Green, please.
Thank you very much. No, thank you. I appreciate the staff review and support their comments, but just in particular wanted to amplify the comment about glazing the parablank walls in the primary elevation. I mean, really important to do that. Not having an interior plan, no way of knowing what's going on in those spaces, but it's just really important that they be glazed. And if there are instances where they can't, devices like blind windows can be used to maintain that rhythm on the elevation, but it really needs, that's pretty significant. It needs to be addressed. But otherwise, very supportive of the project and look forward to seeing its construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. Commissioner Tunstall Williams.
Yes, thank you. I agree with my fellow commissioners. The walkability and the blank windows are problematic. I really think from a walkability perspective, placing the parking right in front of the front door kind of seems the antithesis of what you would do. That's a very suburban strip mall type approach. So I'd encourage them to look if there's ways to tuck it around the side or do something to make the front door feel like that's what you're supposed to walk up to. And then as for the windows, to echo Commissioner Green, yes, from the exterior, adding some windows to those big blank walls will help it hugely. But I also think of the children that are inside this space, again, not knowing what is going on right behind those walls, but the opportunities to bring windows and daylight in is kind of energizing. And I think it would be welcomed by the people that are in the building. So I encourage you to keep looking at it, but I do agree with the staff recommendations and support the project overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tunstall Williams. Commissioner Dixon.
I agree with all, and thank you, staff, for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dixon. Commissioner Cash.
No questions or comments. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Giacchetti, I believe, is here today, or Commissioner Hassett? Neither. Commissioner Kozar.
No further questions. Thanks to the staff for the presentation and your work on the project.
Thank you, Commissioner Kozart. I'm going to go back now. If we can capture Commissioner McMahon's reflections on this. I see that he's not joined us.
I believe he has. He said he had joined by phone. I don't know if someone can unmute him through his phone.
Well, Anthony or Steve or Stephen will just move along and appreciate the efforts you're making to try to connect him. Oh, there you go. Okay, we can hear you. Thank you, Commissioner McMahon.
Star 6, thank you. It's I don't know what kind of problems I'm having today, but such as they are, I've got them. Thanks to staff for the presentation. It's a very good presentation. I concur with my fellow commissioners on the need for making improvements on that front facade. I think what's out there does look very industrial, And I think there's opportunities. I believe reading the report that side of the building probably has service spaces, utilities and whatnot, but I still think, I agree that, even false windows will help soften that front of what's going to be the main entrance for the building. I think aligning with Commissioner Tunstall-Williams, I was taking a look at Google Maps and seeing that the report talked about the change in location to provide proximity to the Jones campus. I don't think the funding is there within this project or the scope, and so I'm not going to ask to be in part of the recommendations, but I would encourage the Air Force to go back and take a look at some kind of bike path walkway, by nature, go out the front and around down the back and through those woods to the Jones campus. I think it's a very good addition to pedestrian walkways and reducing the need for use of vehicles once they get to Andrews Air Force Base. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Commissioner McMahon. Have I forgotten anyone? I think we're ready to move on. I will make my comments. And first, I do want to thank staff, Ms. Free, for your presentation, and staff for all the work and the very thoughtful staff recommendations and thoughtful input from the commission today. And I want to reflect a lot of those. I agree with those who have said that the facade needs to be inviting to children, and not just the facade, but the interior and exterior experience, including the parking lot recommendations of Commissioner Tunstall-Williams. I want to echo that. I look forward to the project returning. This is a preliminary study or report, so we're very happy that it's moving on, and there will be an improvement in the end. So thank you very much to those who presented today and the comments of the commission. Are there any further questions? Any further questions of staff? All right. Well, with that, Ms. Huddle-Cox, could you please confirm the motion and the second and take the roll call vote?
Yes, the motion was made by Vice Chair Hewlett and seconded by Commissioner Argo. Commissioner Cozart,
Yes.
Commissioner McMahon,
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham,
Yes.
Commissioner Argo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hewlett,
Yes.
Chair Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunstall-Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Cash,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Abstain.
Commissioner Giacchetti.
Abstain.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Are there any further comments or questions on this? Hearing none, this concludes our open session agenda. Our next regular commission meeting will be Thursday, December 5th, and that will be at 1 p.m. and it will be in person as a reminder. And if there is no further business, this meeting will be adjourned.